there was a study. Dalai Lama almost freaked out. Both of us did, actually, at an event that I arranged Tibet House arranged in the Beth Israel North Hospital in New York. The building I was born in, actually. It was a great moment when I realized that. And under a different name. And there was Dalai Lama tripping around that building. It was so cute. We had this conference, and this guy from San Francisco, who was part of a team that had reevaluated the type A behavior health risk factor about, being busy or working hard, all this kind of thing. And had made it different. It doesn't have to do with being noisy. That was a big relief to me. Doesn't have to do with being busy. Doesn't have to do with being workaholic. Necessarily, actually, it doesn't. There's two factors that are the real danger factors when they reanalyze all the 30 years of interviews, and then the outcomes of the people. One of them is, one of the big dangers is if you do a work which you hate only for money, but you really want to be doing something else. If you live like that, you're going to have a very high risk of heart attack. And the time you're going to have that heart attack is Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Largest concentration of heart attack. And then the second one is even more fascinating. This is where Dalai Lama freaked out because of the blade wheel teaching that he knows, and that is in the dialogues, conversations with these people in the study, these hundreds of people, this longitudinal study, the frequency of percentage of use of the pronouns I, me, and especially mine. The more they talk mine and possession is more actually worse in that study than the actual self-reference. But the higher the quantity of self-reference, the greater the danger of health risk. Which completely confirms the sort of blade wheel, really deep and absolutely surprising teaching of the exchange of self and other. That even though we're not Buddhas, the sooner we can switch our self-preoccupation for other preoccupation as the beginning to get out of that prison, the more healthy, the more alive we become. So the death and rebirth here from the blade wheel perspective, which without knowing it, I chose the blade wheel only because in my first two trips around the mountain, because Mount Kailash makes you feel that you want to be it's like on your Sunday best. You want to do whatever you think is the best thing that you learned, the most important thing, the most essential thing. You want to bring that out. Although it's kind of a challenge to bring out, it's like get people to think, hey, Yamanta, come kill my enemy killer heart. Stamp on my head of my stupid thinking. It's kind of, like your normal tourist, like, client. It's a little heavy. But what the hell?
Who's a normal tourist?
What are you going to do about life, How are you going to live? You're going to keep running around like, what have I got? Where is it? How much? What? I mean, how can you not help people if you feel that is kind of hanging them up? By mentioning that, at least they can tell you're crazy. They can say, that's not what my granny told me. That's not what my shrink told me. That's not what my professor in psych class told me. Well, fine, listen to them. But this ancient tradition here in Kailash, the death and rebirth that is really worthwhile is the death of the self-addiction, the absolute self-addiction, and the rebirth of the concern for others, and living in a connectedness with others, and living for others, and thinking about what they want. When you get up in the morning and say, what do I want today? Instead, what do they want today? Just a little switch like that. How does it look to them today? Start getting, and it brings you a new voice and a new life. So that's the blade.